Thank you everyone for joining this webinar. I think everyone is in the room now. I think it's a good time to start now. We put in a 5-minute buffer, and looks like everyone who signed up also attended this webinar. In this webinar, it's all about make AI work for your business. A lot of companies have this question in their mind: what is AI? How can we utilize this great technology for our company in order to gain an unfair competitive advantage? What are the real world use cases besides generating text and generating images? And how can I practically implement this technology into my company processes? For this webinar, you will listen to myself. My name is Alexander Stahl, and my company is called Simple AI. And to my colleague, you want to say something, Khalifa?
Yes. Hi, guys. My name is Khalifa. I'm from Shaper. I'm very happy to be here today and very excited to talk about how AI or how you can make AI work for your business in 2024.
Perfect. So short details about myself. I was born in Hamburg, Germany, lived there for a long time. Then I moved to Prague because of family reasons. And then I moved to Vienna to finish school there. And then I moved to Dubai. And now I'm back mostly in Vienna, working on AI projects. I started my career in retail, then moved to sales, and then finally found my personal passion at programming, developing software solutions, and now working with machine learning in order to help companies leveraging this awesome technology and gaining a proper competitive advantage in their industry.
Cool. And me, I'm originally from Finland. My background is in product design, product development. I've been working with digital products for the past 14 years now. I'm a company I launched in Finland, expanded to the UAE. That's how I ended up here in Dubai around 4.5 years ago. And I'm the founder and CEO of Shaper, a company focused on helping well-funded startups and SMEs leverage this amazing new power of machine learning and AI.
Perfect. What I want to mention, because I saw that a lot of people are kind of messaging us. If you have any question, we have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar that you can drop all your questions. If you're shy to speak in the webinar, you can just message us and we will answer your questions after the webinar by email or in a LinkedIn conversation. So in this webinar, it's all about discovering real-world examples of AI implementation in small and medium-sized enterprises. It's all about learn how to measure the success of your AI initiatives. That's a huge part where Khalifa comes into place. And it's all about walking away with an AI implementation roadmap. This will be actually sent to you after the webinar. And we will follow up with you about this in a personal message. I think this is a good part for Khalifa. I know your expertise in wrapping up the history of AI, so I give it.
Yeah. So basically, like some of you know, AI has been coming for the past 50, 60 years, which is finally in a place where we have the computing power to actually use these neural networks. Something that I really want to highlight is that I've been working in tech for 15 years. Some of you in the audience maybe even longer. So you are as aware as I am of the fact that technology has never progressed this rapidly. We've seen a few big paradigm shifts. Like in the late 90s, we got personal computers and the internet. As you know, it changed everything. But the change was much slower then. Then in mid 2000s, we got cloud computing and mobile computing. The iPhone was launched in 2007. And again, a big paradigm shift. We were able to use our smart devices and kind of like computers on the go. But in all of these cases, adoption was significantly slower compared to what we're seeing with AI today. And this is simply because back then, everyone didn't already have a device to access these capabilities. So this is a big change this time around. AI is coming and we all have access to using it. What this of course means that when you have hundreds of millions of users, these models can learn much faster. So the pace of development that is going on in AI right now is by far faster than I've ever seen technology progress. Not even close. And this really is a big paradigm shift. It will change everything, and the companies who adopt this change early on will be able to reap the benefits, and the companies who are left behind are frankly left behind. So this is it doesn't mean that every company has to become an AI company, but this really is a thing that you want to understand. How can this affect the industry I'm working on? What are the capabilities these can give to your company and to your competitors? And when you understand that, then you know how important is it for your company to adopt this before your competitors do.
Yeah, well said. And I also want to add some fact that AI is a so-called GPT, like a general purpose technology. And general purpose technologies stimulate innovation and economic growth massively. And there are like three factors for GPTs. It's like widespread use. I don't really have to talk about this. You see that AI is basically like applied across various sectors in industries, right? And it's a no-brainer to use AI. And high volume of research. You know, a lot of money was thrown into research in the last decades because there was also the willingness to adapt this technology into processes, firstly in enterprises, like in the automotive industry and in the healthcare industry. So basically industries where you have a lot of clean data because of the money that is behind it. And the last but very important part that basically is part of the paradigm shift right now is continuous innovation and adaptation. So for AI to be a general purpose technology, a GPT that really stimulates innovation and economic growth, we have these three factors like widespread use, high volume research across a lot of different industries, and now, especially since last year, continuous innovation and adaptation, right? We saw a lot of things that have been new to the field of AI last year, and a lot of companies that basically pretty fast adapted AI into their processes. Just a short comment on that. That was added by you. It is not the strongest nor the most intelligent that survives. It is the one that is most adaptable. By mentioning the factors of a GPT, I think it's quite a good fit here. Data is the new oil. Data is just like crude. It's valuable, but if unrefined, it cannot be used. And I think you wanted to make a good point here, Khalifa.
Yeah, it's a lot of companies I'm talking with, they have this they know that they have data. But in a lot of cases, when we look into it, it might not be relevant data. So I think it's super important to, if you haven't looked into it, to any company today, think about what kind of data could be valuable to us and make sure that you're collecting it. Like if you're not clear on this, I would honestly just urge you to jump on a call with Alex or myself, and we can very quickly in 20-30 minutes define what kind of data is valuable for your business to understand your users and to make predictions and all that. and just to make sure that you're collecting the right kind of data. So yeah, it's extremely important.
Okay, the next point was understanding AI for SMEs. It's clearly it's a no-brainer. What is AI used for right now? A lot of people are using AI-driven technologies like large language models in order to create content, right? To create text, to create images. But a lot of people still don't know how they use this combination of technologies, so how they use AI for their own business. How can they use this awesome technology in order to thrive their business and to gain competitive advantage, right? So the important thing is AI means different things to different people, right? For AI for business leaders is driving innovation, enhancing productivity, gaining a competitive advantage. For the consumer, on the other side, it's simplifying daily tasks, getting more personalized experience, and improving the overall quality of life by personalized healthcare and so on. That's really important to mention. But in this webinar, it's all about understanding what AI is and how it can help you as a business owner to gain this competitive advantage on a long-term base, right? So the founding father of artificial intelligence, John McAfee, in 1955 said, the objective of AI is to develop machines that behave as if they are intelligent. As if they are intelligent, because you couldn't really say they are intelligent because the instructions are coming from a human being, right? So they don't really work autonomously. And Elaine Rich, also a huge contributor to this technology, said AI is the study of how to make computers do things at which, at the moment, people are better. So overall, it's a field of study that gives computers the ability to learn without, and that's the key part here, without being explicitly programmed. And that's the huge difference between a regular program and an AI-based solution. But we will dive deeper into that in the next slides. So as I mentioned, AI is not one technology, but it's a combination of a lot of different fields of study, right? Computer science, electrical engineering, for data processing, mathematics, statistics for algorithms, psychology, linguistics for NLP, working with a language, and philosophy. It's all about understanding how it's all about talking about ethical considerations of using AI for humanity, right? Are we working with biased data? Are we taking advantage of AI for bad purposes, and so on? What is the goal of AI? We have, again, two sections, the business section and the overall section for the private life of a human being. The goal is to develop intelligent systems that can save us time, to simulate human thought in order to improve our decision-making process, not based on our own thoughts, but also based on real-life data, and to apply AI into various industries. As I mentioned before, it's a GPT, a general purpose technology, and that's why it started being applied in a lot of different huge industries like healthcare and in the automotive industry right at the beginning. Let me just switch to the next slide. Right. Why AI matters for SMEs. Okay. We have two statistics here, two statistics that say a lot, right? The global AI market for SMEs is projected to grow from 2.2 billion in 2020 to 13.4 billion in 2025. One study, right, by Markets and Markets. And the other study by IBM is that SMEs that use AI are more likely to experience revenue growth than those who do not use AI at all. Okay, so the rule here is in the next 2 to 3 years, you will have a strong competitive advantage if you use AI in your processes. Later on, in 5, 6 years, it's a standard. It's a must. You need to have AI implemented in your processes. Otherwise, you will be basically wiped out by your competitors. So what are the common misconceptions? I mentioned it at the beginning. A lot of people still think, okay, AI is ChatGPT. You can generate text and images, and that's it. But there's a lot more to it. But let's take the Goldilocks rule in the context of AI. A lot of people are too optimistic. They say, okay, we will have like, I actually mixed it up, I think. We have different opinions here, okay? We have a sentient, super intelligent AI killer robots that will come soon, okay? And they will remove us all, and we have no place on Earth. Then you have the other ones. They say, okay, AI cannot do everything. So the AI winter is coming. It's just a hype. No one will talk about AI anymore in 1 year, right? And then the right attitude is AI can do everything, but it will transform industries based on the right input, right? If you ask the right questions, if you are prepared, if you know your business, if you know your customer, if you own your data, then you can actually drive change with this technology. So the two optimistic approaches based on the speed of the involvement of the technology, AI will take our jobs, right? AI will change how work is done, but it will not replace the people. You know this, everyone in this room know this famous saying, um, people won't be replaced by AI, but by people who are using AI. Okay, so if you use at the studies by McKinsey Global Institute, for instance, you see that by 2030, 400 to 800 million people or jobs will be displaced, but 500 to 890 million jobs will be created. So it basically just switches the sides, right? Then AI is super dangerous for humans. It can be, right? Because you have deep fakes, you can synthesize videos, and you can have videos where you see people doing stuff who are not really doing the stuff, right? You can generate fake comments, you can go through anti-spam filters, you can do a lot of fraud, especially in the financial industry. So there's really a lot of potential for bad stuff to be happening, right? And then AI is always accurate and unbiased, which is not the case because AI systems are only as good as the data. Khalifa mentioned it before, as the data in it. So especially in bias tools, AI can, for instance, discriminate women or people of other skin color. That can affect bank loan approvals, right? That can affect basic stereotypes in HR recruitment tools. So this is really a thing we should have a look on. When we look on the other side, too optimistic, I said I switched it up. It's AI is magic, right? AI will solve all our problems. We don't have to do anything for it. So it's just here. I just put these two letters into my business plan and then everything blows up, right? That's of course not the case. You need a plan, you need a guideline, you need a roadmap. If you follow this roadmap, you will be successful, but AI is not always the solution. Okay, AI will solve problems you haven't defined. That also doesn't work. You need to clearly understand your business. What are your main pain points, where you want to go, and then you can go from there with a proper AI solution that can be recommended by an AI expert in a joint conversation where you mention where you talk about your domain expertise, your major problems in your domain, and where you mix it with the AI expertise. The last but not least thing is the the understanding that all AI systems will keep improving by itself. That's also not true. You still have to work on them. You still have to put human effort into them in order to make them better over time. Also, if you talk about reinforcement learning, right? It's still a hybrid environment where machines and human beings are working together. The business case for AI. I think now it gets a little bit more adventurous here. That's what you're all here for. So I just mentioned the number one recipe is mixing up your domain expertise with AI expertise. Sitting on a table with someone who understands the applied AI case of the applied case of AI in business very clearly and deeply, and talking to this person about your problems in business. And then you pretty fast find the way to go for your company. Khalifa, did you want to say something?
No,
Okay.
not at this point.
Okay, perfect. So I always say the first step or the most common things that people or that companies are using AI for is just automating routine tasks or processes, workflows that take up a lot of time, that take up a lot of human labor time. So this kind of work that is really like ugly, no one wants to do it, but it has to be done, but it consumes a lot of time. But in real life, you would like to do something else, right? But it needs to be done. These are most of the time the tasks that have huge potential for automation. Okay, this is one part. The other part is personalization, especially in retail, especially in e-commerce. AI is like the best example for personalizing shopping experience, right? It's also the best example for driving revenue growth. And Khalifa will mention an example for that. It's called like dynamic pricing later on. So the other one is enhanced marketing and sales. And here's again about personalization, right? Giving everyone a personalized message in order to improve the conversation rate. And the same is applicable. It's applicable for customer service, right? If you please
Also,
mention.
sorry, just to add on the personalization, it of course has this element of adding revenue because you get more sales and your marketing will be more effective, so customer acquisition cost is lower. But it also has the nice effect that it's easier and nicer for the user to use because they can quickly find what they're looking for. So it really improves the customer experience and your revenue. So
Yeah.
recommendations are kind of one of those use cases that it's a double win. So any e-commerce company, if they're not using recommendations, they're just leaving money on the table and customer experience as well. It goes to as long as like real estate website, for example, has tens of thousands of apartments, and then you can try to filter them somehow. But as a user, it's still a lot of work to go through all of them. So if we can understand what you're likely to be looking for, it just significantly improves the experience as well.
Best example, 35% of Amazon sales are based on the algorithms in their recommendation system, right? So it's all about, you see, like it's a huge part. 1/3 of their revenue is based on recommendation systems, which is crazy. Let's come to the interesting stuff, case studies and real world examples. The first real world example is an example of a company, like a relocation company in Vienna. They had one simple problem. Problem was the customer came in and said, I want to relocate from A to B, but I have a lot of stuff in my flat, right? And I don't know how much time this takes. Please make an offer. So oftentimes they had a lot of time. They needed to spend a lot of time in order to create a kind of precise offer, but still a lot of times after they had accomplished, after they had like they had been finished with the relocation of the customer, they found out that they had charged not enough money, right? They lost a lot of money because the calculation wasn't perfectly done, right? Because of some factors, they missed these factors. Here we basically took all the variables and the cost of the company into one database and used an LLM extension in order to automatically calculate the price for the relocation for the customer. And now, instead of like 2 hours, it takes the company 15 minutes, including customer conversation, right? Including talking to the customer back and forth, to craft a proper and precise offer for the customer. And now I asked the company, out of 30 relocations, 29 relocations were super precise and they charged enough money, right? It wasn't the case that there was a relocation and they charged not enough money. The same goes for the kitchen installation. So instead of going back and forth with the different data, the length of the kitchen, what kind of furniture, what kind of wood, the type of wood, right? The type of kitchen plate, what kind of fridge, refrigerator are you using? Do you have a coffee machine? What brand? So we're using the database with all these parts and all these furniture, and now can calculate within 20 minutes the offer for the kitchen and send it out to the customer. And the same is here. From 10 kitchens, 10 calculations were correct and were like viable. And now they don't only save time in the offer creation process, but they also made sure that they get the most out of their time when they're working for the customer. So basically increasing revenue and saving time on the other side. This was one of the first huge examples of applied AI in a very small company. They have like 12 employees, right? So it's really a small company. The other one is an Airbnb owner. This person, or this, there are a few more persons, but they have over 150 apartments, Airbnb apartments. And they had the hustle to always reply to ratings individually. And it took up a lot of time, right? 3 to 4 hours a day. One employee did this for them. And he always read all the ratings, and he had to read it to the end because sometimes it's that good. But at the end, there was like, okay, but the bath was smelling, the toilet wasn't clean, right? So all of the text is good, and at the end you have one bad sentence. So it took up a lot of time. It consumed a lot of time. Now you have the data is like fetched through an API, and then it's analyzed by sentiment, by keywords, and then through an LLM integration, all these ratings are replied to automatically and individually, right? So they save a lot of time here. And the other good thing is, all the ratings, out of all the ratings, we automatically filter out the keywords for good ratings and for bad ratings. So they basically have a dashboard where they see, okay, what was the cause for bad ratings and what was the cause for good ratings. So what they have now is, on one side, they save time again, they save time. And on the other side, they have a better insight into their data, what basically means they can make better decisions based on the customer reviews. And that's what's communicated a lot of time. AI helps you to make better decisions. AI is improving the decision-making process. And this is like a perfect example here, because now they can say, okay, we had like 30 bad reviews, right? And we see that the main factor, the main issue for these bad reviews is the smell in the bathroom. And like 50% of the time, it's only this apartment, right? So these insights actually help them also on the other side to improve their ratings in the end. So save time, better decision making based on very transparent data insights, and improvement of the ratings. Also, really a prime example of how AI simply but effectively and massively improve your business. This is Austria. Now we're switching to the UAE, I guess.
Yeah, that's a great example. So in this case, NeoIP is a legal firm specialized in IP, intellectual property rights. So they're doing patent applications. They're helping their customers to kind of fight when someone is using their patented technology. Basically, what we're doing is, this is another classic case of automation. So how NeoIP has been able to grow is by simply where competitors usually take up to 4 weeks to help their customers kind of fill a patent application. NeoIP was able to take that down to 2 weeks before we started working with them, by simply having they've organized their data a little bit better. So it was easier, because this process, if I want to file for an application, it usually starts by looking into are there existing patents that infringe this, and then going through existing patent applications and reviewing what improves the chances of getting this patent filed. And of course, NeoIP, big part of kind of their core value is that they have from 20 years these patent applications that they've done, and they know which ones were successful, which ones were not granted. So what we did with them, we fine-tuned a large language model for them. We trained it with past examples of which patent applications went through, which did not go through. And then we linked that with, they have all the documents in a database. We turned them into what they call a vector database. And then the ones that are, for example, I want to create a patent for, I don't know, this blog here. Then we'll find 20 other patent applications that are similar to that. And we send that information to a large language model that can then create the first draft of this patent application. And this, of course, and then it's not fully automated yet. The legal experts go through these applications, but in most cases now, the process takes 2 hours instead of 2 weeks, which then gives them a huge advantage.
Awesome. That's awesome.
And another example that we also mentioned prior is dynamic pricing. Dynamic pricing is something that is, for most of you, you've experienced this when you try to book a flight or accommodation. If you go to if you book for flights, you notice that, hey, yesterday this was $400, today it's $500. This is done with something we call a dynamic pricing. I have 2 examples, one that was done with Adidas, and the other one that we're working on right now is a Saudi-based fintech company. On both of these cases, we use machine learning to basically predict demand. We want to see how much demand we have for, let's say in Adidas case, it's for a shirt, for example. And if demand is high, we know that we can maybe add 5% or even 10% markup to the price without losing any customers. And in other cases, we might have low demand and we can predict that, okay, we'll have 1,000 of these shirts unsold, and then 6 months later, we'll be selling it off with a very heavy discount. So it maybe makes sense to discount the price a little bit and then get more demand by doing that. So it's basically a machine learning engine that is predicting demand and optimizing the prices for maximizing revenue and profits. This is also something that, or variants of this, for example, even in retail, optimizing supply chain and understanding how many cases of bananas do you need to have on your store can, of course, reduce waste, can reduce food waste as well, and of course increase revenues by making sure that you have enough inventory to satisfy the demand.
Thank you, Khalifa.
Very impactful solution, and really, it's free, in a sense, free money, because in cases you can just add a markup to the price.
Awesome. Thank you for this insight. The next session will be about practical steps to implementing AI. And after that, Khalifa will mention how to measure return of investment and how to make sure that you will get your return of investment as soon as possible. When we're talking about practical steps of implementing AI, I created this graph, and I always mention know your business, right? Understand your business to the core and take people who understand your business into this AI implementation process. Take them with you, take the most like experienced guy or girl out of your business to the table and make sure they sit on the table with the AI expert in order to find out, in order to define your major pain, and your major goals, and then create a solution based on that. After you have the business intelligence, you should have clear objectives. Okay. The AI expertise can be imported from outside, right? Then you need to make sure that you actually have the data or find ways to get the data you need. Khalifa always really underlines this and gives a lot of practical examples to this. Then you need to make sure that you have a proper implementation timeline and say, okay, we start this project now. We want to get results. We want to see results within 6 weeks, within 4 weeks. Then you need to really we really need to observe this whole project, right? Khalifa will talk about this later on. What are the key performance metrics in order to get your return of investment? And then you adjust based on your personal experience in this project, based on the feedback from the customer side and from the business side. These are basically the steps that always work in my personal experience. So it's always, okay, is it feasible for my company? What can AI do and what is valuable for my business? AI expertise, domain expertise, right? What are the main drivers of business value? What are the main pain points? And as I mentioned at the beginning, think more about automating tasks than automating jobs, and choose these tasks that eat a lot of your time, although no one really wants to do it, right? Everyone knows that that needs to be done, but you could use your time in a more fruitful way. And any company I talk to until now had this experience that they have a lot of tasks that need to be done, but no one wants to do it because it kind of eats a lot of their time. Okay, so to verify if an AI project is worth the effort, right? You need to do technical diligence and you need to do the business diligence, right? Is the project feasible? Is the project valuable, right? Can we do it technically? Okay. Do we have the expertise, technical expertise? Do we have the data? And can we execute it over a specific amount of time? Okay. Does it lower our cost or increase revenue? If yes, then we can start working on this project. Otherwise, it doesn't really make any sense. And what we do, what Khalifa is doing in the Middle East and what I'm doing here in Europe is it quickly identifying the low-hanging fruits in the business and aim for quick wins. Why? These quick wins will give you a lot of confidence in order to move on with your AI implementation in the company in order to find out what works for you and what doesn't work, right? And some of these low-hanging fruits are often chatbots for customer service, but also internal chatbots like knowledge chatbots for your employees in order to get specific documents, in order to get fast answers on your questions, or in order to automate the process of creating offers, custom offers for recurring customers, for new customers. So chatbots are basically here to save a lot of time. Then automated data entry, right? This is one example again. for work that needs to be done, but no one really wants to do it, and personalization. Okay, just to sum this up very quickly. And chatbot is kind of a misunderstood term. A lot of people I think chatbot is just this icon on the bottom right on the website where you click on, and then you just ask random questions. But chatbots can really do a lot more than that. And we will talk a lot of these practical solutions, low-hanging fruits in our initial consultation call. But I will mention this again at the very end. So the most implementation challenges are always about data quality and availability, right? So I don't have data, or my data is really not a good fit, or I need to clean my data because it's really a mess. That's what we are taking care of in the first place, and that's really kind of a must do in the beginning in order to make sure that you are preparing yourself for success. Okay, then you need to have the technical skills, but this is also some kind of misunderstanding, right? Because you as a business owner don't need to know how to create a model, right? How to like kind of program and custom AI solution. You just need to make sure that the people you're working with really know what they are doing, right? Then sometimes it's also a challenge to integrate, to connect the AI solution to already existing systems like ERPs. But this is mostly resolved. This is mostly resolved by just having a conversation with the technical team of the solution. For instance, we had a challenge connecting an AI solution to CRM, right? It was Zoho. And then we had just a technical call. And through that, we could resolve this issue. And now this lead management process is connected to the AI model. And then, of course, change management. Often the challenge is that one guy in the company wants to use AI and sees the value, but the others don't. So you really must make sure that everyone sits in one boat and everyone really wants to work on this solution together. If that's not the case, it will be a hard time for you. Okay, so it's important here to establish a clear process, yeah, to have efficient execution and consistency in order to save time, to have scalability and continuous improvement in order to really get the most out of it, right? It's always about saving time and getting the most out of this solution financially, and to save costs at the end of the day. Because if you don't clearly define what needs to be done, you are basically programmed to lose a lot of resources unintentionally, right? And that's what you don't want to do if you want to build a solution that gives you fast return of investment, especially. So the best practices in my personal experience and the experience and the practical experience, I have to underline this, the practical experience of Khalifa and myself is define your objectives, right? Assess your data readiness, make sure that you have the right data, choose the right AI technology. It can be a no-code, a low-code solution like Zapier. It can be a platform like GCP, Google Cloud Platform, or Microsoft Azure, or Amazon SageMaker, for instance. And it can be a custom solution. It all depends, right? But this will be the decision will be the result of you talking about your domain expertise with an AI expert. And the last thing is, last but not least, build a cross-functional team. Build a team of people who know your business, who know the customers, and who know the data, and who know how to build AI solution based on this foundation. We talked about this before. You develop a proof of concept with a low-hanging fruit solution, like automating data entry or building a chatbot for your employees or for your customers. And then you really need to make sure that you monitor and evaluate the performance in order to stay on track, right? For this, we have a special AI transformation guide. This will be shared with our attendees after the webinar, right? So this guide basically is your book to look into it if you want to know how your company should start and what your company needs to do in order to take advantage of this amazing technology. And now, Khalifa, I think it's your turn in order to talk about the guaranteed return of investment with AI. I'm excited. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So yeah, of course, like any project or anything that you do in a company, you want to make sure that it's worthwhile. And in simple terms, when we talk about return or investment, you want to understand, okay, how much is this going to cost to me in terms of money or resources or time? And then what do I get in return? I know this sounds crazy, but in so many projects, this is not clear, and this might not even be like maybe it's not even talked about, which sounds insane, but it really is the reality. So why I always really emphasize this, even though it should be a no-brainer, is that I see so many projects happen with AI or without AI, where the goal is not clear, and you're not measuring whether it's created returns. And in most cases, in those projects, it's not actually generating returns. So what you want to do is always start with the end in mind. This is very important, especially now that we see so much talk about AI and ChatGPT this, ChatGPT that. It might be very tempting to just, okay, let's do something with AI. And let's just integrate ChatGPT into our website, where in reality, you really should first stop and look at what will AI make possible in my industry and in my business. And my approach is usually this, that I like to look at it top down first. So where would you like this company to be in 5 years or 10 years? And then we think about what needs to happen for that to become a reality. And this conversation is usually best to go through with the leadership of the company. And where do we want this company to go? Some cases it could be that we want to become the market leader, or we want to, I don't know, 3x the revenue in the next 5 years, or whatever the goal is. And then we start to ask questions. What needs to happen for that to be a reality? Another approach that I tend to use is looking at it bottom up. So basically, usually talking with the people who are more in operations. And then from that point of view, what needs to change for us to be able to do that? So let me just give you an idea. If top-down approach, we think about, okay, we're now a fairly small company. We want to become a significant market leader in our industry in the next 5 to 10 years. And then what would need to happen for that to become a reality is that could be that we simply need to be the best solution for our clients. Let's say, I used a real estate example previously. Let's say we want to build a competitor to something like Property Finder, which is one of the leading websites where people now go to find apartments and well, real estate targets to rent or buy. Could be that for us to become the market leader in this, that we simply need to have the superior customer experience. What could that mean? That as a user, when I come to the site, I don't have to scroll through 25 different pages to find the right villa for me, or whatever is the problem in this case. And then how could we solve it to make it instant? Instantly, when I come to the site, magically it knows that these are the 3 best options for you. That would need to happen. Then we would go into conversation, okay, what needs to happen for that to become a reality? So that's just an example, but that's how I usually like to approach this. And I would always prioritize well. meaning that usually when we look into what could be possible, we end up with a backlog of maybe, I don't know, 20 things that we could do with machine learning and AI to really significantly improve your business. And then we want to prioritize those each by how much effort would it take to do this? How much would it cost you to create this capability? And how much are the gains? So for example, and I like to, on every item that we choose to think, is how much revenue could this increase? How much time could this save? And what does that mean in dirhams or in dollars or whatever is your currency? So that we have kind of very clear, this is how much money we can save, or this is how much money we can make. And then we can compare it to what is the cost of implementing this.
Awesome insight. Thank you.
And then strategy for then when we know what the return should be, we want to make sure that we're measuring the growth. So always start with impact first. What's the desired outcome? We expect to increase revenue by 15% if we do this. Okay, now we have a target for it. Then we want to measure after the project is implemented and we're using it, what's the outcome? Something very important is to use the right metrics. It should be something that is directly linked to the desired outcome. So, for example, if we're looking to build better recommendations on your website, then we shouldn't maybe follow total revenue. We should maybe look at the conversion of people who come to the site and they see the recommendation, how many of those end up buying. Something that is as closely linked to the target as possible. Very important to make sure that the whole team is focused on the key metrics and creating those returns. And then ideally even having skin in the game. Either giving the project team, if you're using your in-house resources, maybe giving them some kind of a bonus or something nice if they match this the targets, or even working with a partner. We, for example, are happy to when we're working on a project that we directly should see revenue increases. We, for example, made deals where we say that if your revenues don't increase as much as this will cost, it's free. So basically giving a return or investment guarantee. So yeah, that's how I would measure returns. And again, the key here is just to make sure that we're very clear before we do anything, what's the desired outcome, and then measure it.
Perfect. Thank you. I just activated the AI companion by Zoom, so anyone who has questions can also talk to the AI companion directly. If he or she is too shy to answer ask the questions. If someone wants to ask a question here openly, please feel free to do so. I don't know if anyone here is unable to unmute themselves, but I think the people are too shy today, or maybe they are just curious talking to the AI companion by Zoom. Otherwise, we are also free or happy to answer your questions in a personal LinkedIn conversation. So what are the key takeaways here of our webinar? The key takeaways are, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Khalifa, know your business, know your customers, own your data, and take action. Think big, start small, aim high, but start with smaller, manageable projects to build momentum and learn from experience. What is your take on that?
Oh, it's beautifully said. And something I would honestly encourage all of you is that if you haven't thought about AI, or if you haven't actioned on it yet, just ping us and let's get on a call. Let's take 30 minutes, just see what could this mean for your company. We're not here to push you to do something, but you should have the clarity to understand what could be the impact, so that then you can make a conscious decision what you should do, what's best for your business.
So what we have experienced in our calls definitely is it's always a mind and an eye-opening conversation, because people then really understand, okay, this is how I can apply AI on my specific business in my specific industry. And that was the one information that was missing, right? And then it's always about the readiness to adapt to this technology. As we said, everyone who will adapt now will have a competitive advantage this year, next year, the year after, but later it will be a standard and it's a must for every company. Following up on this webinar, you will get an AI implementation canvas. It's exclusively for everyone who attended this webinar. You can also join my Simple AI newsletter on LinkedIn. You will get a presentation, so you can basically access to the link where you can book a consultation call, AI consultation call with my dear colleague Khalifa or myself. We're working together. And you can access the Shaper website or just type in shaper.xyz. And yeah, I think that's everything for today. We could talk like 2 or 3 hours more about the business case of AI, but for today, I think we are finished. We need to get back to work, helping all these SMEs in Middle East and in Europe, adapting this amazing technology. Anything from you, from your side left, Khalifa?
No, like I said before, I would just encourage people to just have a think and just get that clarity. What is this meaning for your industry? Just so you can make more conscious decisions.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you. And thank you everyone for attending this wonderful webinar, and see you soon in our next webinar. We will keep in touch. Thank you.
Thank you very much.